the ability to expose myself to LA, to India, to China, it opens up my mind so much. Going into India, we had some preconceived notions that were dispelled the moment we land. Bangalore was such a modern city. It's the Silicon Valley of India, rightfully so, because when we travel around the city, we hear and feel the vibes. It is still distinctly India. We still get the vibe of it, but can look at the pace of development, and it really amazes you. And when we went to Shanghai, my goodness, I could never imagine how Shanghai has transformed within just the last 20 years. And you see the pace of competition. You also see the hunger of people there. And you then kind of string together and connect dots and say, all right, this is why India and China are really the two biggest growing regions in Asia, and why we need to learn how to work with understanding the culture, understanding the people, understanding the aspirations. And with that, you can kind of really start to feel the opportunities that's available. And with this program, you are able to go to these two places, and with the deep learning that you have over there with the company visits, not only you're just going there to learn, we went there, and the faculties, the university administration organized such rich company visits, the immersion visits. And I recall one visit in China. There were two companies we went. First was a MNC that's located in China, and then the second one was a startup. And the MNC in China was also telling us that even as an MNC, I'm facing competitions within China, because for the amount of time it takes for me to make one decision, to do one iteration of a product, my competitors that are local in China have done 10. And that amazes us so much as a cohort when we hear things like that, that even within China, they feel the pressure within themselves. And then we go into a startup in China, really, really the hunger is seen. You can see the amount of effort and passion that everybody has to really make their project work. It is truly amazing to be able to connect and see the development of China in action through those lens of those companies. The curriculum is not difficult to learn. It may not be as easy for some, because, for example, if you are not somebody who is quantitatively gifted, or you are not that strong in the math portion, there are useful pre-segments, modules that you can take on to help you level up your math skills as well. And even then, the faculties are not out here to fail us. They are here to teach us what is the concept about, and more importantly, less of us becoming a practitioner of it. So for example, in our financial accounting class taught by Prof. Carla, the world-class accounting professor, she gives us tips about how to dissect a balance sheet, instead of just throwing us a balance sheet and say, now do an analysis using everything you learn in the textbook. No, she gives us 10 questions and run through these 10 questions with us, teaches us how to do these 10 questions. And with that, we understand the underlying strengths and weaknesses of the balance sheet. And this theme runs throughout. It is about what you need to know as a manager, as a senior executive, to ask the right questions to the folks who are actually churning the data, so that you can actually make the right decision as an executive. In terms of preparation time, I would say the more time you can set aside to prepare, the deeper your learning you'll be when you're in segment. One example for me was financial accounting again, because pre-segment, I really didn't have a lot of time because we had so many things going on in my company. On the flight over to LA, it was a 15-hour flight. I recall spending 10 hours just grinding through the textbook. And I really made sure that I read through all the required readings, which is literally almost 80% of the book. But by the end, when I landed and we went for the class, it really helped, because then the questions that I asked was not basics or fundamentals. It is then understanding what she was trying to imply behind the concepts that she's teaching. So the amount of time you need is more of how much time you are willing to give and how much time you can give. And the more you can give, the learning is exponentially a lot more, because you will be spending less time trying to chase the basics, but you can learn deeper, and you can then ask questions and learn a lot more through your peers and your faculty.